Hi children, I'm so happy once again to welcome you all to the geography part. How are you children? Hope you are doing well. And in the last video under the title Resources and Development, I have made known to you about the types of resources. Under that, you have learned two types. They are natural resources and man-made resources. And today in this video you are going to learn about the classification of resources. Let us discuss the classification of resources in detail. Okay, right. Classification of resources. So on the basis of origin, resources are broadly classified into two types of ideas. On the basis of origin, resources are broadly classified into two types. They are number one, biotic resources. Number two, abiotic resources. On the basis of origin, resources are classified into two types. Number one, biotic resources. Number two, abiotic resources. Now, let us discuss in detail about these two types of resources. Okay, now number one, the biotic resources. What is a biotic resource? So these biotic resources are obtained generally from biosphere. These biotic resources are obtained from biosphere, that is live human beings, livestock, flora and fauna. All these are the livestock, flora and fauna. Okay, so this is all these come under the biosphere. So the bioresource mainly these are obtained from biosphere, that is human beings, livestock, flora and fauna. What is flora? All the forests, okay, plantation comes under flora, and fauna, all the life in the forest is called fauna. So flora and fauna also come under biotic resource. So these are the resources which help us in many ways. So this is the first kind of the resource based upon the origin. So this is the first kind of resource, that is called biotic resource, life, okay, biosphere. Okay, so these resources are obtained from biosphere, that is human beings, livestock, flora and fauna. And the second type, that is abiotic resources. And these abiotic resources are composed of non-living. See, for example, biotic resources are life filled, and now the second type, abiotic resources, are non-living. So these resources, that means abiotic resources, are composed of non-living things, that is soil, rocks, metals, winds, etc. Most of these are lifeless, my dear children. These are the lifeless, so they are non-living. So all these non-living resources come under abiotic resources. So the abiotic resources are composed of non-living things, that is soils, rocks, metals and winds. When you look at these are the lifeless, okay, non-living things. So these are the non-living resources, my dear, and they are also helpful to us in many ways. Okay, and they also fulfill our needs, okay, without which we can't live. So that is why these are lifeless. That is why they are called abiotic resources, non-living resources. Abiotic resources. Soil, for example, it is lifeless. Rocks, okay, lifeless. Metals, various kinds of metals, okay, and we can use them, okay, in different ways for different purposes. We can use them by using technology. Okay, yes, that is why these resources, lifeless or non-living resources, are called abiotic resources. Okay, and now let me tell you another type, that is on the basis of exhaustibility. Now the resources which are based upon exhaustibility. So the resources which are called exhaustible resources, that means they are mainly classified on the basis of exhaustibility. What is exhaustibility? That means they run out. They are exhaustible. Okay? They disappear someday. So on the basis of exhaustibility, again the resources are classified into renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay? Yes, on the basis of exhaustibility, they are again classified into renewable resources, and second one, non-renewable resources, my dear children. Now, just take a look at this diagram so that you can have an idea. And here are the resources, and natural resources and human-made resources. In the beginning I told you in the last video. So resources are two types. They are natural and human. And again the natural resources divided into renewable and non-renewable. And here human-made resources classified into structures and institutions. And again quantity and quality. And now renewable resources can be classified again into continuous resources and biological resources. And here non-renewable resources, they are recyclable and non-recyclable. Biological resources can be subdivided into natural, vegetation, and then wildlife resources. Okay, dear children, just look at it. Okay, in this way the resources are classified. In this way the resources are classified broadly. Okay, yeah. Now we are learning about the classification of resources. Under that, renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Okay, now let me tell you about the renewable and non-renewable resources. First of all, renewable resources. Let us discuss the renewable resources. These renewable resources are renewed. That means they are reproduced. They are reproduced, regenerated. Okay, these resources are renewed or replenished, regenerated by nature itself. We have, okay, we get some resources from nature. Already in the first video you have watched what come under natural resources. Okay, for example, solar energy is the best example for natural resource, and wind energy, another important natural resource, and wildlife. Okay, solar energy, wind energy, water, and wildlife. So these resources are come under, okay, natural resources, and these are renewable resources, and these resources are renewable resources. That means they are replenished, they are reproduced. Okay, limitless. Okay, yes, so these resources are we can say they are limitless. Okay, yes, they are replenished, even though when we use them, okay, they are replenished, they are reproduced, regenerated. Okay, that's why they are called renewable. They are renewable resources. They are renewable resources, are replenished. Okay, solar energy, it is perpetual. Okay, solar power is a perpetual power. It is everlasting. Okay, yes, as long as the earth and the sun, okay, exists. Okay, this resource we get, okay, it continues. So that is why it is perpetual. So it is a renewable resource, my dear. And later wind also, okay, wind energy, renewable. It is renewable, it is replenished. And water, it is limitless. We have plentiful of water around us. Okay, yes, it is renewable. Then like wildlife. Okay, as long as we have the forests, we have abundant wildlife. Okay, yes, so that is why these are renewable resources. They are called renewable resources, are replenished, they are regenerated, are reproduced. Okay, that is why all the reproduced or regenerated or replenished resources which are termed as renewable resources. Look at it: solar energy, wind energy, water resource, and wildlife resource. So all these are renewable resources. Is it clear to you, my dear children? And now let me tell you the second type. Okay, yes, that is non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources. The resources cannot be renewed. Listen, my dear, these resources cannot be renewed. But renewable resources can be renewed. That's why they are called renewable resources. But whereas non-renewable resources cannot be renewed, they cannot be reproduced, they cannot be replenished at all. That's why they are called non-renewable resources. They are exhausted, my dear. But renewable resources are not exhausted. They do not get run out. But whereas non-renewable resources are exhausted. When we continue to use these resources, they will be exhausted someday. One day they will be exhausted. We cannot find them. So that is why these are called non-renewable. When they are exhausted, it is very difficult to reproduce. It is very difficult to replenish them. That is why they are called non-renewable, which cannot be renewable at all. Once they are exhausted, they cannot be renewable. They cannot be regenerated. That is why this type of resources are called non-renewable resources, my dear children. Such as, see, minerals, or all types of minerals. Next, fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the best example. For example, coal is the best example for fossil fuel, and petroleum, another important fossil fuel. When we continue to use these two types of fossil fuels, one day they will disappear. Yes, my dear, when we continue to use these resources, coal and petroleum, we cannot get them back at all. That's why they come under non-renewable resources. We cannot reproduce or replenish them. They are exhausted one day. So that is why, my dear, these are non-exhaustible, or non-renewable. They are non-renewable resources. They are non-renewable resources. All the minerals, whether it is gold or it is iron ore or whatever it is, whatever is that we are getting from the earth core, one day they will disappear. One day they are exhausted, but we cannot replenish them. Best example, we have the fossil fuel, the best example, coal and petroleum. One day, all the reserves of this coal and petroleum reserves will disappear. We cannot replenish them or replace them. Exhaustible. They are exhaustible one day. That is why, my dear children, these are non-renewable. We cannot reproduce. We cannot replenish. We cannot regenerate. That's why these resources are called non-renewable resource. They are not renewed at all. They are not renewed or non-renewable resources. Children, my dear children. That's why we need to conserve and protect these resources. And now let me tell you about another type that is called that is on the basis of ownership. Dear children, now on the basis of ownership, again, the resources are classified into four types. On the basis of ownership, the resources are of four types. They are: number one, individual resources; number two, community resources; number three, national resources; and number four, international resources. There are four types of resources which are classified on the basis of ownership, my dear children. Number one, individual resources; number two, community resources; number three, national resources; and number four, international resources. And in the next video, my dear children, we shall discuss in detail about all these four types of resources which are based upon ownership. These four types are classified on the basis of ownership. In detail, I shall explain to you in the next video. Till then, goodbye, my dear children. Keep watching. Bye.